It was a dark and stormy night, and I was lost in the woods. The rain was coming down in sheets, and the wind was howling like a pack of wolves. I had been hiking for hours, trying to find my way back to the cabin, but I had somehow gotten turned around. I stumbled through the trees, my heart pounding with fear. The darkness seemed to be alive, and every shadow held a new terror. I could hear strange noises all around me, and I knew that I was not alone in the woods. Suddenly, I heard a rustling in the bushes ahead of me, and I froze. I strained my eyes, trying to see through the darkness, but all I could make out was a shape moving in the underbrush. As I stood there, frozen with fear, the shape grew larger and more defined. And then, with a sickening feeling in the pit of my stomach, I realized that it was not an animal, but something far more terrifying. It was a creature, unlike anything I had ever seen before. Its skin was black as pitch, and it seemed to shimmer in the light of the lightning. Its eyes glowed with a sickly green light, and they seemed to bore into me, as if it was reading my mind. Its long, spindly fingers twitched and writhed, and its razor-sharp claws glinted in the faint light. As it loomed over me, its gaping maw opened, revealing rows of sharp teeth that seemed to glow in the darkness. Its putrid breath washed over me, and I could feel the heat of its body radiating off of it. I was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or even scream. My mind raced, and I knew that I was going to die. The creature seemed to be considering me, as if deciding what to do next. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. I could feel the coldness of the creature's skin against my face, and I knew that I was doomed. But just as it seemed as if the creature was about to strike, a bolt of lightning lit up the sky, illuminating the forest in a blinding white light. As the lightning flashed, the creature recoiled, hissing in pain. I took the opportunity to scramble to my feet and run, my heart pounding in my chest. The fear and adrenaline coursed through my veins, and I felt as if I was flying, my feet barely touching the ground. But even as I ran, I could still feel the presence of the creature, its eyes burning into my back. I knew that it was still out there, waiting for me, and I could feel its putrid breath on the back of my neck. I finally made it back to the safety of the cabin, my heart still racing with fear. I collapsed on the floor, gasping for breath, trying to calm myself down. The memory of the creature stayed with me, haunting my dreams and my waking moments. As the night wore on, the storm raged outside, and the wind howled like a pack of wolves. But even as I lay there, safe and sound, I could still feel
The dark woods were an ominous sight. The branches of the trees were gnarled and twisted, and the leaves rustled with an eerie whispering sound. It was the kind of place that sent shivers down your spine, even in broad daylight. But it was nighttime now, and the woods were even more foreboding in the inky blackness. I had come here on a whim, seeking solace in the quiet of nature after a particularly trying week at work. I parked my car at the edge of the woods, grabbed my flashlight and headed in. At first, it was peaceful, the crunch of leaves underfoot and the chirping of crickets the only sounds. But as I went deeper into the woods, things began to feel off. The trees grew closer together, blocking out the moonlight, and the sounds of the forest became muted. That's when I stumbled upon the first body. It was twisted and contorted, as if in the throes of a terrible agony. Its face was frozen in a look of terror, and its eyes were open wide in a silent scream. I nearly gagged at the sight and smell of it. The stench of decay was overwhelming, and I had to cover my nose and mouth to avoid vomiting. But then I saw more bodies, scattered throughout the woods. Each one was twisted and contorted in a different way, as if they had all suffered different horrors before dying. Some had broken limbs, others were missing eyes or fingers. But all of them were twisted in a way that seemed unnatural, almost as if something had been trying to pull them apart from the inside. I stumbled away from the grotesque sight and into the open fields, my mind racing with the horrors I had witnessed. But my relief was short-lived. In the distance, I saw a figure silhouetted against the darkness. It was too far away to see clearly, but I could sense its malevolent intent. I tried to run, but my legs felt like lead. The figure seemed to be getting closer, and I could see now that it was not human. Its body was twisted and contorted, like the bodies I had seen in the woods, and its eyes glowed with a malevolent light. As I stumbled and fell, the figure loomed over me, its twisted form casting a dark shadow across my face. I tried to scream, but my voice was hoarse with fear. The figure reached down and grasped me with its twisted fingers, pulling me close. In that moment, I knew that I was going to die. The figure's breath was hot and fetid, and its grip was like iron. I could see now that its skin was mottled and diseased, and its eyes glowed with a fierce hunger. But then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the figure was gone. I was alone in the fields, gasping for breath, my mind reeling with the horrors I had just witnessed. I stumbled back to my car, fumbling with the keys, and drove home in a daze. But the horrors of that night were not over. Every night since then, I have been haunted by dreams of twisted, contorted bodies and malevolent figures lurking in the darkness. I wake up drenched in sweat, my heart racing with fear. I have tried to convince myself that it was all just a nightmare, that the bodies and the figure were just figments of my imagination. But deep down, I know the truth. The dark woods hold secrets far more sinister than I ever could have imagined, and I fear that I may never escape their grasp.